Like, next up, we have Mrs. Green.
Thank you. Donna Green, Sandown.
What's the address, please?
3 Cranberry Meadow Road,
Thank you.
Sandown. I have to present to this board and the SAU a warrant article, a citizen's petition warrant article, to be put on the ballot, and it reads as follows. In being subject to RSA 21-J:19, shall the Timberlane Regional School District be required to change auditing firms every 4 years or fewer, starting with the 16-17 audit year, and that no auditor or firm be reappointed within 8 years of their last appointment. Majority vote required. And I have 35 signatures here. So the reason for this is that it's not known when the district last changed its auditor. Every year the district must file an MS 60-A to the DRA declaring, who their auditor is and when the audit is expected to be completed. And unfortunately, the DRA keeps their files only back until 2007. But we've had the same auditor since June 30, 2007 year. I think this is a very bad idea. For all I know, we've had the same accounting firm forever. And that's not good business practice. My second point is after 5 attempts to attain a line item default budget, I filed a right-to-know request yesterday. And I want you to know that when the district complains about the overwhelming number of right-to-know requests they get, please understand that it's their obstruction to providing information, public information, that generates right-to-know requests, not the people who are requesting the information. And on December 7th, I also requested to see the district's contract for the Infinite Visions accounting program that figured in the default budget. I had to wait until 3:45 p.m. today, the usual game played, when the office closes at 4. When I'm notified that right-to-know request information is available, it's almost always 15 minutes before the office closes. I've asked for the contract to be given to me tonight, but instead, I'm required to drive back here tomorrow. The public has no idea how little information is given school board members and how little other members seem to care about this. And in other matters, on December 12th, a press release announced the creation of the School District Governance Association.
Sorry, that has nothing to do with this district. So
It's public comment.
I'm not allowing
And
that.
my time.
That is not, you cannot walk in here and quote the Bible or Constitution or anything else. It's not any district business.
It
So
certainly is.
We are
It
done.
certainly is district
Jean?
business because
Cut the audio. Business of some sort.
this is exactly why we need it.
It's not an advertising, it's not an advertising bureau. Dean, bring it back, please. Next, we have Mrs. Doobie. Thank you very much. I hope the other gentlemen don't mind the order I'm taking this in. I'm a firm believer of ladies first. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Can I see that?
So I'll be brief. I just wanted to bring something to, Stephanie Doobie, Danville, New Hampshire. I just wanted to, I live in Danville, New Hampshire, 22 Rock Rimmon Road, Danville, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring something to the board's attention that they may or may not be aware of, and I wasn't really sure what other avenue to bring this up tonight, so I thought that this would probably be the best way to do it. Back in September, we had our board meeting, which the representatives from Achieve 3000 came and talked about the literacy platform that was to address the need for reading instruction at the secondary level. And I'm bringing this up because that was the presentation that was given to us, that it was for the secondary level, for middle and high school. And I learned just last week that $100,000 has been earmarked for the elementary level for 2017, 2018. And I think that the board should be aware of that, because we were not told that this was going to be part of the elementary curriculum. So I think that that's important that everyone's aware of that, and we need to figure out what, if anything, can be done about that. I've also brought it to the attention of the chair of the budget committee. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that, because that was not what we were told in September. So, and I think that we should discuss it hopefully tonight at some point. I really don't know what can be done, but I think definitely something should be done about that, because A, we were not told, and B, parents have not been told about this. And that's really not good. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Green. From where?
Thank you. Arthur Green, Sandown. A properly constructed default budget is critical to the integrity of the budget process. It's a protection to the taxpayer, as well as a powerful inducement to the school board and budget committee to ensure that the proposed budget contains only those appropriations truly necessary and worthy of voter support. Now, the default budget is set by the school board, and the school board has the opportunity to use their authority to nullify the taxpayer protection of the default budget simply by approving the same or higher than the proposed budget, leaving voters with no real alternative. The school board last week, after only superficial review, did exactly that, approving a default budget of $71.5 million, almost the same as the budget committee voted last week to send forward to public hearing as the proposed budget. Unless something changes, voters will have their choice of a bloated proposed budget of $71.5 million or a bloated default budget of $71.5 million. I've documented a default budget for 2017-18 of $70.1 million, which is about $1.5 million less than the school district is taking forward to public hearing. Now, at deliberative in 2014, the administration demanded a budget of $67 million and promised catastrophe if we cut the budget to $64 million. Yet the district went on to operate that year, spending less than $64 million. At deliberative in 2015, the promises of catastrophe were renewed if the proposed budget of $68 million were to be replaced by the responsible budget of $65 million. Yet we ended that year, this past June, having spent less than $65 million. We were right then, and I'm telling you now that with a default budget of $70.1 million, the district will still be awash with money. The school board approved a dollar amount for the default budget last week, without having before them line item details, which would have allowed them to question whether the law governing default budgets was followed, without seriously considering that capital improvements are one-time expenditures which ought to be removed. And by the way, I would note that everyone around this table, and even some people who aren't currently around this table, know perfectly well that the building improvements and site improvements line of the budget are capital items and are treated as such in the tax apportionment to the towns. Without allowing the school board further, without allowing scrutiny of many line items in this year's budget, which had been identified as one-time expenditures during last year's budget process, and without realizing that the default budget includes increases which are not contractually obligated but were not identified as such in the administration's presentation. Now, school board members are required to sign the following attestation on the legal posting. Under penalties of perjury, I declare that I've examined the information contained in this form, and to the best of my belief, it is true, correct, and complete. As matters stand, no member of this school board should be willing to put their signature to such a statement.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Mr. Green.